Welcome back, everybody. If you're new, my name's Nicholas, and this is Investing Against the Grain. Now, before we get into what today's video is going to be about, I want to talk about two things. One, I want to say thank you to all of you who have supported this channel, especially from the beginning. We are essentially approaching 5,000 subscribers, which honestly, this channel started as a way for me to just get my creativity out there, a way for me to share my ideas, my investment thesis, and the way I approach things with my kids in the future, and just kind of having a place where I can, speak and put it out into the world and just see what happens. And to be at almost 5,000 subscribers, probably at 5,000 by the time this airs, it's very humbling, and it's very motivating to keep me going and moving forward. So thank you all. I truly appreciate it. And there's much more to come from here. And hopefully some of this positive energy and momentum can dive its way into Tesla stock itself, which gets us to our second thing that I want to talk about today. I did not intend on making the video I'm going to make today. I had another planned video. I want to talk about some things going on with Tesla, some products, some rumors that are out there. I kind of felt like I couldn't really talk about that. I also want to talk about Cruise and what they're doing with full self-driving. Today just was such a heavy day with Tesla stock and just what was going on with the macros that I felt like I had to talk about today. Unfortunately, I feel like it must be talked about yet again. What we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about Tesla stock. I'm not going to spend too much time looking at this or talking about this because frankly, I'm sure you've been looking at it all day and you probably don't want to see it anymore. And then we're going to dive into some rumors that they come from a potential credible source. So we'll just talk about it. It'll just be fun to go. It's something to be a little more lighthearted and just something to kind of at least smile about versus, the frown you've probably had all day. With that said, do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, ring that bell. Let's get into it. All right, let's get the ugliness out of the way first. So take a look at this. This is a daily chart of Tesla. And, if we just zoom out, for pretty much, let's just call it about a year. Okay, so we got just about a year's worth here zoomed out. You can see here that we had a huge red candle today, huge red candle. Okay, what I want to bring your attention to is we destroyed a few resistance points that we really needed as support. First of all, if you guys see this orange line right here, this is the 200-day moving average. Now, historically, Tesla respects the 200-day moving average and will move up once or bounce right off of it. It didn't yesterday, and it continues not to today. I heard some people talking about an after hours yesterday how we reapproached 830, and so we technically were above the 200-day moving average. Look, you always should kind of ignore after hours trading. It's on very low volume, very volatile. So I wouldn't take stock into that at all. Yesterday was definitely a, no pun intended, red flag for us closing under the 200-day moving average. Now I'm going to zoom in here a little bit. So not only did we break the 200-day moving average, but you can see that we had a holding, a potential support right here at 828. So here we can see that 828, call it 830, was when we finally broke out from this funk, okay, that we had over here. So that's what allowed us to break out. And so we went below that. So last time, we actually respected this boundary, right? This was back in, mid-January, I believe. Well, I can see it right here, January 28th. Sorry, that's silly. So this is right after earnings call, after everybody kind of hated what Elon said, focusing on Optimus and no compact vehicle, essentially all that stuff that we've covered a million times by now. But we broke below it and then we recovered. Okay, and so that just made this an even stronger support. And then yesterday we kind of had the same thing. So to me, this was a pivotal moment to see what would happen today. And today we actually started very positive. Let's look at this from we'll look at it from a daily perspective in a second. But we started off in the green, actually pretty well in the green, about $15, $20 upside. And that was very bullish, right? That was a good sign. And then what happened? The same thing that's been happening this entire year, this entire debacle of a year in the stock market. The macros took over. The macro environment took over. more rhetoric, more BS going on with Russia, with Ukraine. And I don't mean to downplay or lack any kind of empathy. I really do feel for all the people in Ukraine. I've said this a few times. I have a lot of friends who have family over there. I have a very close friend whose wife's family is still over there, and he still has family over there. I have other friends who own companies who have a lot of developers who work over there. So I have association with Ukraine in one way or another, and I feel for the people. They're beautiful people with a beautiful culture, and frankly, they don't deserve this. They don't deserve to have to deal with any of this type of chaos. But today, things got worse. Right, we had more sanctions from the U.S. We had more sanctions from other countries. We had Turkey acknowledging the fact that what Russia did to essentially do a Crimea 2.0, that they do not recognize that as a sovereign nation, if you will. So there's a lot of things that happen. And then, of course, you have Putin saying that he's going to retaliate for the sanctions the U.S. put on them. And then, of course, there's the unofficial but pretty official DDoS attacks that we saw on the Ukraine banks. And so if you don't know what a DDoS attack is, essentially just imagine a web server that has traffic going to it, right? Imagine Amazon.com. All right. And you log in, you go to Amazon.com and you can access it, do whatever you do, right? Now, imagine if going to Amazon.com, you only had a certain amount of lanes that you could take in, right? And then after that, it just starts to back up like traffic on a highway. Well, as that traffic backs up, right, it becomes everything goes to a standstill and nobody's moving or anything. Well, that's what can happen to web servers. Is the same thing that can happen where a web server can be overloaded to the point where it can no longer deliver anything to end users, right, or any access. And so what happens is it just shuts down those web servers. And that's what happened to many institutions, banks, and government agencies over in the Ukraine today. And obviously, that DDoS attack was implemented by Russia, supposedly, right? We don't have actual proof, but I mean, it seems pretty clear cut. So very simplistic version or explanation of what a DDoS attack is. It's actually a lot more nuanced than that, but it's a good analogy to understand what happened. So that's a cyber attack Russia had on Ukraine, which is very interesting because what happens next, right? They're essentially attacking them from a cybersecurity point. Rumor is, all the news is saying that Russia now has all of their soldiers at the border. It's just a mess. Anyways, all that mess, all that escalation, all that extra added stuff is what led to the sell-off today. And so today, when we sold off, not only did we break this 200-day moving average, this orange line, not only did we bust through this 828 support that we had here, but now we've come all the way down to this support here. A lot of people have different numbers for this support. Some people have 750. So, I mean, maybe that's a bright side. I don't know. But I have it about 757. If we zoom out, you can see where the support is. So what was this? Back in April 14, 2021, we tested here. We rejected that level. We came back down, and then we finally were able to break it here. So that became yet another support. And you can see we came right down to that support. And so that's where we're sitting at now. Now, not to make things worse, but if we look at a 1-minute chart on the daily, you can see what's happening now. We have officially hit in the post market 751 as a low, and obviously we're just down after hours in general. So we closed at about 764, and now we're down to 751 to 752. Again, I still think, I said it before, I'll say it again. Aftermarket activity, I tend to consider it kind of garbage time, or just time that doesn't really count for much. So don't take this with too much of conviction as far as what's going to happen forward, but it is worth noting and understanding where we're at, because what happens next? Well, that's a great question. If we look at the daily again, well, once we break here, our next support doesn't exist until we get all the way down to about 720. And if we break 720, well, then you can see, we can go all the way back down to 542. So we have some big drops that we could have here, and it's very serious. It could happen literally any day. And the whole thing that's bothering or affecting this is just these macro environments. It has nothing to do with Tesla. It has nothing to do with them producing vehicles. It has nothing to do with profitability. It has nothing to do with any kind of supply shortages. It has nothing to do with full self-driving. It has nothing to do with any of that, right? All of this is just macro noise, and there's nothing to take attention away from it. So we'll have to see what happens. I know there's so much pain out there right now. This is a broken chart, as you can tell. It's ugly. It's painful. We're all in this together, though. So just keep that in mind. All right. There's something we talk a lot about in the military, and it's that you become closer in a tighter knit group during suffering. All right. That's why they intentionally put people through Hell Week and they put people through boot camp, is to essentially strip away what you are and make people go through what they call the suck, right? The phrase goes, embrace the suck. And when you embrace the suck, you come together and you come out even stronger for it, more united together. So I think, we have to find kernels of positivity and silver linings, all this. And so that's what I'm trying to do here with all of you. We are a tight community, almost 5,000 of us. So I'm going to celebrate that. I'm going to choose to look at that as the positive. All right, no more talking about this. I'm sick of looking at these charts. I'm sick of talking about Russia, Ukraine. I'm sick of talking about inflation. Let's talk about something maybe a little more uplifting and positive. And so I take you to a tweet from Holmar's catalog, or Omar, as some of you may know him. And so keep in mind, take all this with a grain of salt. None of this is absolutely factual. This is all rumor-based, but hey, it's fun. So here we have on February 21st, Omar tweeted saying, from a Giga Texas employee. And then I will note at the very bottom, he says, this is obviously a rumor. We don't know if it's true, but I trust it. Okay, so what did the text actually say? So here we can take a look at the entire text. And we're just going to break this down slowly because it's going to be fun. All right. I've spoken with quite a few people about product rollout this year, meaning 2022. CyberTruck deliveries should start in Q1 of 2023, with crash test vehicles being produced later this year. So that's pretty exciting. If we're going to start seeing crash test vehicles in 2022, that means there's going to be more than one, more than two, right? So far, we've only seen one or two CyberTruck prototypes. But to get to crash tests, we're going to see probably some decent volume on that, right? We'll probably see a few hundred for crash test reasons. So that's pretty exciting. I mean, I think that's pretty big news, especially if they're aiming for Q1 of 2023, right? I think what we're going to end up seeing, you're going to see the GM Hummer continue to lag. You'll see the Silverado delayed. You'll see the F-150 will be either at the end of this year or it'll get delayed into next year. I think everything is going to get pushed back, right? This narrative that Tesla's always late on all these things. I think everybody's going to understand that when you're trying to produce an EV and you're trying to innovate on every single thing and you're vertically integrating, trying to cut down costs, all these things take time. One hiccup can have a domino effect and put everything, kind of on the back burner or delay everything. So I think all these OEMs are starting to learn that. They're going to start experiencing that. And so I think we're going to see delays from them. But I think this is very bullish, the fact that Cybertruck will start crash testing by the end of the year with delivery set for 2023 Q1. That is awesome. Okay, so then he goes on to say, Tesla truly is taking this time, 2022, to absolutely crush everyone on software. We should significant improvements in all possible software areas for all vehicles and users. So this, I don't really know what this means, right? This could mean a bevy of things. So this could be talking about from a firmware perspective, right? Essentially the software for hardware. It could be talking about from just the actual OS system that Tesla runs on. It could be talking about gaming, entertainment. It could be talking about full self-driving. It could be talking about autopilot. I mean, there's a lot of different things it could be talking about. It could be talking about what they're doing with auto labeling and any internal softwares that they have, any SRMs or anything. So this can be a lot of different things, but I think what's bullish is the emphasis on software. I think moving forward, any company that doesn't have this emphasis on software is doomed. Okay, they will be doomed. So I think it's bullish that this is what they're focusing on. And then he goes on to say, In addition, or she says, I don't know if it's a he, in addition, Tesla employees get FSD for free, and they are now launching a program starting in Austin where coworkers can get together to give other Tesla employees educational tips on FSD so that more of them opt into FSD beta for free. So I've seen some people misread this or misinterpret this. I think a better way of understanding this is that not everybody uses full self-driving or FSD, right? There's a lot of people who have Teslas who don't even want to use autopilot because they're scared of it or they don't trust it. And so I think, just like you have those people out in the real world, even though they own Teslas, they don't trust things of that nature. They like to have control. I think the idea is to help other people how to use it, or once you are using it, how are you using it and being safe with it? What are the little tricks you have? We just recently saw a live, it wasn't a live stream, but a YouTube video with Gali from Hyperchain and Homar, who is the one tweeting this. We saw them doing a ride along together, and Omar is very, very active with full self-driving, right? He drives it almost every day. Meanwhile, Gali, he said that he just doesn't drive it that much, or he doesn't use it that much because it does take attention. You have to pay attention. And sometimes, he's just trying to get there as fast as possible. And he even says that he doesn't think he's the best driver. So sometimes he gets a little paranoid about it. In other words, for him, it's a little more stressful because it is still a beta and you still have to be on top of it. But driving with Omar, you could see that Omar was giving Gali little tips and tricks. Oh yeah, all you have to do is pull on the wheel like this and it'll let it know that you are still here and you're engaged. Or telling Gali, yeah, trust it here. Hey, don't trust it there. Or, hey, you know what? We can tell we're about to get stuck. Let's just go around this, just send it in. So we could see what Omar was doing there, giving tips and tricks to Gali. And I think that is the idea of this. That's the impetus for this, is to be able to give all of those learning lessons across to all the other employees. So I see this as pretty bullish, and especially the fact that employees get FSD for free. I mean, man, it makes me want to be an employee, right? All right, final part here. The internal push for level 4 autonomy this year is crazy. I don't think many outsiders understand what's coming. So again, this goes back to support what we heard on the conference call between from Elon and what we heard Zach say. I said this after the earnings call. That was probably one of the most bullish, exciting conference calls I have ever heard. I know Wall Street disagreed. Wall Street hated hearing the information about Compact. They hated hearing that Tesla or Elon's focus on Optimus. Okay, they're all wrong. I'm sorry, they're wrong, just like they're wrong with the current stock price. All right, the fact that Elon was saying that he's convinced that they'll have level 4 this year, he has never, ever, ever said that he thinks it'll be ready this year. This is the first time he's ever said that. On top of that, Zach is saying it. We heard Drew say it. So we're hearing a lot of people say this, and now we see a leaked, or not leaked, but we see a text here from a Giga Texas employee. I mean, we're just seeing all the signs. We see how 10.10.2 is looking. It's looking pretty damn amazing, in my opinion. And it's funny to see some of these YouTube reviewers who sit there and they nitpick certain things and complain about it, yet it's almost like they forget what 8.0 was like. Right? Or what previous iterations were. To see how far it has come, it's just unreal. And to think that we're going to get version 11 soon, which will be the full stack, which will hopefully incorporate the nixing of any camera post-processing. I mean, it's just exciting times when it comes to tech and and FSD, the software, technology, all of it. It's just very, very exciting. And then don't forget, we still have excitement from Berlin. We still have excitement for Austin. I know there's all this stuff with Berlin right now with the water supply. Frankly, ignore that. I think, honestly, that's a non-issue. If Tesla doesn't get water supply that they already are guaranteed, they'll find it somewhere else. They can truck in water. There's many things they can do. I mean, ships do it all the time. They have desalinators. I mean, you can make your own water. You can use recyclable. I mean, there's just so many options. I really don't think this is going to be a big hiccup for Tesla. And again, even if they have to truck in water, this is a very common thing to do. Ships do this all the time. So don't fret on that too much. I think the bigger thing is getting Berlin open, getting Austin open, and starting to get actually vehicles to be produced. And again, like I said last video, I don't think any of them will technically be open until April, which will be the start of Q2. And I think that's just from a way for accounting reasons, right? So that they can depreciate on more vehicles versus less. I think it's just good from an accounting perspective. Ooh, almost lost my voice there. Accounting perspective. All right, so that's all I want to talk about today. Again, I had a whole different planned episode, but with today and the way things looked and ended, I thought maybe we could use a little therapy together. If not, this is my therapy talking to you guys, just to look at this and know that we're all in this together, and it's going to be okay. At the end of the day, this is why we invest for the long term. Bigger picture in mind, bigger thesis at hand here with revolutionary products and software, not evolutionary, revolutionary. So think great things to be excited about. And I think that's what we have to focus on at the end of the day. A lot of empathy and, sympathy towards everybody in Ukraine. I hope all of this can go away, not for my own personal, wealth or vanity or gain, but these are human lives we're talking about. At the end of the day, I mean, we're talking about kids, we're talking about women, we're talking about, mothers and sons and fathers and uncles and grandmothers. I mean, it's honestly, this is 2022. We should not be having wars like this anymore. As a kid, I used to say that we should never have any wars. It should just be two leaders get together and they have a chess match or something of the nature, or do it the way the Greeks used to do it, where they'd elect one person to fight on behalf and spare all the other lives. I mean, anything could be more civil than what's happening here, what might happen. Again, keep all those people in your thoughts and put a lot of positive energy out there. We need it. Okay, we're going to leave it there. Again, thank you, especially if I hit 5,000 subscribers. It's just absolutely amazing. Like I said, it's humbling. I'm truly honored. Thank you all. I appreciate that, that you guys enjoy listening to me, that you think I add some value to your lives. I understand that your time is valuable. So again, it means a lot to me. All right. Don't forget, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, ring that bell. I love you all. Peace.